Hi guys, welcome to another video. This video I'm not going to be making anything. I've just all the emails I receive are mainly questions about TIG welding, so it's usually beginners, people who have been trying to pick up welding and they're struggling with something. Only a few people really message about the actual projects that I've done, so rather than emailing everyone back with the same answers, I thought I'd try and address some of the problems. The main problem seems to be a lot of people asking the same thing, is they can't weld T-joints and lap joints. It's never about outside corner joints or just butt welds. So yeah, the reason I thought I'd do this video is I've struggled a lot with this. When I first started TIG welding aluminium, so I can relate to it, those two problems were really difficult, and it took me a while to get the hang of it, but I did work out my own kind of technique on how to do it, so that's what I'm going to share with you today. Okay, so this is classic lap joint. It's just two bits of aluminium, one on top of the other, laying flat. It's much the same principle, so everything I talk about in this video pretty much applies if you to have a T-joint like this and you're trying to weld the corner. It's the same kind of principle. The main problem is people struggle to weld even just to start them like a tack. It's because this bit blows away or melts a lot quicker than this bit, so they end up with trying to start it off with a tack. You'll end up with something like this, where this bit here has melted away and the flat bit on the base material hasn't even puddled, it hasn't even started. So you can see here, completely melted away, and this bit here, and you end up with kind of horseshoe shaped bits in it. It's exactly what I did when I first started welding. I've drawn a little diagram there, hopefully help try and explain what's happening. I think it's important to understand what is happening with the heat before you try and go any further with this. If you kind of get it in your head what's happening with the heat, it makes it a lot easier to weld. So this is the top bit, this is the base material. If you arc up in the middle here directly between them and try and get the puddle going evenly between the two, you'll find that this top bit will just burn away. The reason for that is, let's just say you're welding 2mm aluminium at 90 amps and you just stand on the throttle to get the puddle going. This top bit of aluminium can only disperse heat kind of like this, that much, because you're heating the edge of it, so heat will dissipate out here and then this puddle will melt probably about 40 amps quite early. Now the bottom bit will lose the same amount of heat here, but also here. So this piece of base material here would probably need 90 amps to melt, but you're never going to get 90 amps into it before this bit here melts away. This one here is dispersing so much heat, the puddle doesn't get a chance to form before this one's completely melted away. Now the way I got around this, what I started to do was form my puddle on the base material without heating up any of the top layer, any of this edge or any of this bit of metal here at all. First way I did that was to change the angle of the torch up like this. Obviously you need a bit of lead on it if you're going that way, but don't point the torch or the arc, don't aim the heat anywhere in towards that joint. Start upright like this, straight down with the arc. Then bring the puddle, the center of the puddle where you arc up on the base material, away from the joint. Don't go straight into the center, come away from it. Now if your arc is going straight down, it's never going to touch this bit. Your puddle will form just on the base here. None of this should melt. You should be able to give this the full 90 amps and get a puddle going here without melting any of this. You need to get close enough that it doesn't arc across, because electricity will always take the shortest route. You can help by sharpening your tungsten. Let me just show you. So if you imagine this is the joint, if you sharpen your tungsten like this, I don't know if you can see that, you'll leave a a corner here. So when you come in to arc up, the spark or the arc will jump across here. This corner creates a place for that arc to just jump across, and it will melt this top bit away. So if you grind your tungsten like this, a lot longer, smoother point without that corner on it, you can get a lot closer without the arc jumping across here. I found that helped a lot. Like a nice long point, you can get a lot closer and only heat up the base material, not this edge. Okay, so what you're going to want to do to start with is come in with your nice tungsten tip. Make sure your angle is up, you're not pointing any heat in towards this edge. Come away and arc up. You should now be able to give full throttle straight down onto the pedal and get a puddle going here. Now as you introduce your first little filler, the puddle will rise and it will get a little bit wider. And as it gets wider and rises, it should just flow over onto this edge. It should just go up and over onto the top of there, like this tack. See, the centre of the puddle is here, which is on the base material, but the edge of the puddle has just flipped over onto the edge of the top piece. Sometimes when you introduce the filler, you might need to just work that pedal over a little bit with your tungsten, but make sure you come back to the centre. Okay, so once you've managed to get the hang of going up over there, I'll just practice loads and loads of, just get some old scrap metal and practice loads and loads of tacks, because this is probably the hardest bit in doing a lap joint. So you'll end up with just loads of tacks. So you can see most of the tack is down on the base thing. Only probably a third of the puddle is on the top piece. So start your puddle, raise up, start your puddle in the middle, move it up. Always make sure you come back to the middle and keep your torch up at that angle. As soon as you direct too much heat onto it or you move up too close to it, this will just horseshoe out. You'll get a big U-shaped bit in it. And then once you've got the hang of that, it's a lot easier to start welding along and moving along as you do it. So once you've got the hang of that, once you've got your tacks down to a bit of an art, it basically becomes like like you would if you were testing. If you were just going to do a run of weld along here, you would just literally dab, move, dab, move, dab, move. Just a normal dead straight long weld. You're just going to do that along this base material, along here, and just let the edge of the puddle melt the top piece. Never, you're not trying to melt it with the arc or the puddle. You're just going to let the puddle bring that edge in. Eventually you'll end up with something like that. Bit of a rough weld. I didn't actually even clean this up. So yeah, you can see the centre of the weld is way below the line of the joint. The line of the joint's up here, centre of the weld's here. And this just stops this material at the top burning away way before this metal's even, you know, got a puddle going on it. So this is the way I found, well, the only way I found when I first started welding, that I could actually get this to work. Okay, and exactly the same would apply if you were to make this into a T-joint. So you've got this coming directly up. The principle's the same. You're still only melting a small amount of this. So there's not, you can only disperse heat here, not over here. So just because it's upright like that or down, it makes no difference. It's exactly the same. You still arc up away from the upright piece. Get your puddle going, let it form onto this upright piece, and just work your way along the bottom, just like you're literally just welding the base. Let the top of the puddle just pinch hold of that bit there. If you're welding an outside corner joint like this, it's a lot easier. It's completely different. You just come straight in, directly in the middle with your tungsten. Both of these pieces, you're heating up an edge, so they're going to disperse heat around here the same as it will around here, both exactly the same, and you can just weld straight through the middle, no problem. So hopefully that was understandable. It's quite difficult to explain but hopefully you kind of got the technique and the method that I was trying to explain to you. It helped me a lot. Took me a long time to get those beads of weld running in lap joints and T-joints, so I understand how hard it is for if you're a complete beginner. If you've got any other questions about this, instead of emailing me, put your questions in the comments below, and then it'll be public. Everyone can see it. It saves answering the same question twice. Or if you've got your own methods you want to share, stick them in the comments for everyone else. Also, if there's any other types of techniques or welding that you're struggling with or stuck with, then put that in the comments, and maybe we can do another video, or try and help some people with what they're struggling with. So hope it helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.